the guitar room. So this is part 1 guitars. Hey everyone, welcome back. We are on the final episode before the December 2023 auction. It is the 1st of December today, which means we can drop the C-bomb. Christmas. It is Christmas. We can finally say it. We're allowed to. So we are on public view today. So for those of you who are watching far in the future, this won't be much use for you. But public viewing starting today, 9 a.m. till 5. So if you do catch this video today, then you will just be in time. Doors open till 5 o'clock. And then we're on view again on Monday, the 4th of December, 9 a.m. till 5, and then of course it's the first day of the auction on the 5th of December, starting with guitars, and then the 6th, 7th and 8th. So we've got a 4-day auction, and we are going to have a look around the sale room today. You'll see different surroundings. We're currently in our reception area, and if you spin around, the cameraman takes a spin around, we will see this is what you'll be greeted of. This is where you come in through the main doors and you register to bid. And then we'll go through down the corridor and we'll have a look in the sale room and see what you want to see, which will be over 700 guitars and much, much more. Let's have a look. So this is the way you will come through. And firstly in the cabinets, some autograph guitars, which we will not have any jokes about White Spirit making them right. So we've got a few things here. Noel Gallagher signed Noel Gallagher signature guitar in the Man City Blue. Jimmy Buffett signed Gibson SG from 1994, signed in 1995. Noel Redding and Jack Bruce signed Ibanez Musician bass. Great bass guitar in its own right. And then on top there we've got a 1979 25th anniversary Stratocaster signed by Hank Marvin and Brian Bennett. But we go through here, we have quite a sight for you. The guitar room. So this is part 1 guitars, where we have just over 500 guitars in this room. And then we have overflow upstairs again. So we will have a look around, quickly show you a few things, and then we'll look forward to seeing you all during the view or seeing you online bidding. And of course, if you have any questions, just get in contact and we'll help you get set up. If you haven't got one already, the hard copy catalogue, these will be available on the day. Probably a bit late to receive one by post now before the auction, but if there are some left over, you are welcome to a copy, just covering the cost of postage. But there we are. It's a big book.
A tome, as always.
A tome of guitar goodness. So like I said, auction 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th of December. And let's go round and have a look at what we got. So we always start now with Fender guitars. We're trying to keep the two big brands, Fender and Gibson, together. So you will see a lovely array of Fender guitars, all sorts of guitars here. Aerodyne jazz bass, starting with lot 1, Eric Clapton Stratocaster, you can see on to the right there in the white finish. And then just coming round, we've got some 70s precision basses, Squier JVs in fact underneath as well. So we tend to put the some of the better Squier guitars within the Fender section. They are technically Fenders after all. And then we've even got a parts caster there, which has snuck into the Fender section because it is made up of quite a few Fender components. This is a great guitar actually, this broadcaster type guitar. It's got a Fender neck, but really nice relic body, and it's just got that blackguard thing going on. Really nice guitar. Probably one of the best, put together parts casters I think I've seen. Nice thing. And we got a 52 reissue JV Squier. This has been quite popular with inquiries coming in. So those of you who are interested in this, you probably don't want me to say that, but there has been quite a lot of interest. And again,
make people sweat a bit.
Exactly. Another Squire down here as well. You will see we've got some guitars led down. They are perfectly fine as they are. They're not leaning on the necks. They're clothed underneath. So yeah, sometimes people think, oh God, is it good for the guitars? But we will never have a guitar led down on its headstock break angle. They will always be very, very safely displayed. And you will also see with a lot of the guitars, a lot of these table duster cloths out, and it doesn't, aesthetically, it doesn't look that great in the cell room, and it's a bit of a bugbear of mine, but the reason we do it is to prevent nitro burn into guitars. So just a tip there, do not put your nitro finished guitar on a, I guess, cheaper guitar stand.
I think the thing to point out is it's like the arms are felt covered, but it's the rubber backing that sits over the back. And it's the rubber that reacts. The rubber reacts,
so just bear that in mind. Bass guitars is a really cool bass guitar, made in Japan. Someone's removed the made in Japan because I can only assume they're ashamed to be playing a Japanese bass, but I don't know why, because it's better than the US ones. All subjective, of course. But that's my opinion.
My opinion is fine.
That's discoloured quite nicely, but a nice original example. I believe this has been replaced. You can see the original holes. So yeah, that's a nice thing as well. We have the Peter Hamill collection, Van de Graaff generator. So we've got a few things from his career. We've got this early high watt amp that he used to use for his keyboards mainly, has been used for guitars as well. So this is a circa 1971 high watt custom 50 head, and on the side you'll see the Van de Graaff generator stenciling, bought by Peter from the flyover that high watt used to be located in whilst on tour. A 60s Burns 66 that he used for his guitar orchestra. That's quite a nice thing. Good example. It's got his typical Burns lacquer cracking, but nice nonetheless. There's his first ever serious acoustic guitar. You can see it's played to death maybe. But this is a retired instrument now. It did get used with sort of Silk and Steel Nashville type tuning, just to basically not put too much tension on the top there. But that is one of his very early guitars, and there's a photo in the catalogue of him using it in those early days, and an Andy Manson lute that he had made for him. Stratton Smith, which was one of the record to do with his record label. This was gifted to him, commissioned for Andy Manson to make. So Andy Manson's a very good guitar maker, and obviously he can put his hand to most instruments. So that's an interesting thing. So moving further on down, we keep going with Fenders. We've got a Kurt Cobain Jag there, refinished 78 Telecaster, a Dan Smith era 2-knob Stratocaster. There's all sorts. Lots and lots of really nice different things. Mark Hopper's bass, for those of you who are into the whole Blink thing at the moment with their resurgence in recent times. It'll go nicely with my Tom DeLonge Strat, but you don't need me to tell you how good they are, because I think I tell you in every video, and I've just gone and said it again.
Just harping on.
Yeah, just harping on about it. I'll get the message through to everyone eventually.
Everyone in the country has one.
Mark Knopfler Strat, announcement of his Christie's sale. Christie's selling the Mark Knopfler collection. There you go, Christie's. I've done a bit of advertising, marketing work for you there. I'm not on commission with Christie's, we're nothing to do with them. But that is a Mark Knopfler signature Stratocaster, and I would probably say now would be a good time to buy anything Mark Knopfler related, because after his auction, prices are bound to shoot up. It happened with the David Gilmour auction when the Black Strat went and made 3.3 million. The signature Black Strats shot up in value. They almost doubled. So do be aware of that. Get in now. and buy these, they may already be going up in price in anticipation, but that auction, I think there's about 100 of Mark Knopfler's guitars, but there we have a signature Strat made by Fender in the 2000s, I believe. And on the subject of Dave Gilmour, there is a Dave Gilmour Strat. This is the NOS version, so not the relic version. I think there's always a divide between the two. I personally feel that if you're gonna get a Dave Gilmour Strat, and the reason you want it is because you want the black Strat, then you probably go for the relic one because it's a more accurate representation. However, still a good guitar, and the relic ones are nearly double the price. So yeah, a good Strat, and with that artist association. So there is the Dave Gilmour black Strat that has the case and all the papers. And then up behind here we've got some vintage Strats. So we've got two 1961 Strats. We've got the natural one there of the green guard. There are some a few minor issues with that one. We've got the refinished red one as well. Have a look at the catalogue descriptions. We give the full lowdown on these guitars. Both of them with nice dark Brazilian rosewood boards. Both CITES certified, of course, as all of our stock is, because it's the law that you must sell with CITES A10 certificates. We've got a really nice 66 Jaguar there with matching headstock. That guitar's got a lot of mojo, bound to be a popular guitar in the sale, with the original case, that one. And then just in front we've got the Gus G1 MIDI, really hard to come across. They cost a lot of money to have commissioned now, and you just don't see them come up that often. Very, very well made, a lot of pickup options. The word versatile that I don't like to use too much, but it is a very, very versatile guitar, and you've got the MIDI option, of course. Probably the cheapest 64 345 on the market now, because it is essentially a body with everything else added. It's got a new neck, but essentially the body and the label, I think as part of the choke, is still inside. But again, have a look at the condition on that one. And then another couple of vintage Strats here. So we've got on the left a Players Grade 1960 Strat, reprofiled neck, refinished body. Some other things with it going on. Again, read the description. But on the right hand side we have a 57 Strat, which is completely original, including the case. The only thing that it has been changed, after me saying it's completely original, is the nut, but I think we can forgive that one wearing part. But everything else is good. It's a nice example, and it's hard to find original ones such as that these days.
It is a fabulous guitar, and that is a word that I don't think we say very often.
Fabulous, I like that. Fabulous. 63 Gretsch Country Gent, George Harrison spec, of course. We have a Gibson Master Model James Hutchins L4 there with the Florentine cutaway. So that's a nice example. Single owner from new, and has not been used in anger much, so that's a good thing. Fender Telecaster Deluxe with the wide range pickups. These are quite popular now. I love these Telecasters with the big 70s Strat type headstocks on. Gibson Kayla, so if you want a big old whammy on your Gibson below, you got the Gibson Les Paul below there. And there we go, lot 91 tickets coming out, Les Paul custom. It's a nice thing. And then to the left of that we have a 73 Les Paul custom. That one has had a head repair, but otherwise I think there's a few other minor things going on. I say it's had a head repair. I'm just going to check just in case I've...
Was it this one?
It's had his neck refinished. I'm pretty sure it's because of the repair. Anyway, look at the catalogue, have a look. I think the bridge has been replaced on that one as well. And then we have a 70s telly, but a very, very good example, this one. Really nice and clean. original black finish, 1978. And then one of my favourite Les Pauls in the sale is weighty because it's from the 70s, but this is a 74 Les Paul standard, but that's very, very rare because it was not a production guitar then. They weren't officially back in production till 76. They were by custom order only. This one has had its original bridge pickup moved up to the middle and a Damasio placed here with some coil switching. So it's a cool thing from the 70s, a very 70s thing to do, to stick in a super 70s Damasio, I guess. But that's yeah, that's got good history, that guitar. And then we've got a nice Gibson Memphis 335, a Tal Farlow on the left, and then we will come on to our collection of lefties, which we've done a video of all of the lefty Les Pauls in the sale from one collection. You will see the rest lurking behind. We'll have a look around in a second and show you some more of them. I'm not going to go into too much detail on them because we've already done that in a previous video, and of course you can go and have a look on the catalogues, and I think you'd rather see as much gear as possible in this video than hear me waffling about individual things. Yeah, so you can see we've got many Les Pauls, all of different spec. Just feeling the necks to see which they are. So that's a 59 reissue. This is a, I guess what you call a more made to measure, so it's done in the Jimmy Page style, so it's not a Jimmy Page collector's choice or Jimmy Page #2 officially, but it was a sort of a custom order from Gibson Custom, so it is a rare thing. You probably won't find many of these. This is a limited edition of, I think, around 30 guitars that were made for Toeman's anniversary. 57 Black Beauty Les Paul Custom. And then of course we've got a gold top as well, in the antique gold finish, and then we've got some other 59, 58 and 60 reissues just going down here. Many of you know we have artist associated guitars in the sale as well. This Fender Precision Bass has association with John Entwistle. Have a look at the catalogue, search John Entwistle and you will find the bass guitar. And you'll be able to read the provenance. It's not the best provenance in the world in terms of photography of John with the guitar, but it's a very plausible story and an interesting thing as well. One of my favourite basses in the sale. I'm not going to take everything out, but this is an Epiphone Rivoli, and I cannot remember having one in such good condition. Usually they have added pickups or a neck repair, but this is a really clean example. And supposedly owned by the Yardbirds at one stage in his life, but we don't have any hard evidence on that. That was just a comment in passing when the chap who owns it now bought it in the early 70s. Got a Tony Iommi Old Boy here, which these are really cool guitars.
Yeah, the JD Custom.
The JD Custom. So JD essentially made Tony Iommi's as a spare, which he later went on to use extensively, and this is a copy of those guitars. Tony has quite a few of the copies himself to take out and use, so if you want one of Tony's models that he does actually use, this obviously isn't one that he has used, but yeah, there's a long waiting list to get hold of these, so I am told. So don't quote me on that, but I'm sure you'll find out that information for yourself if you want one made. One of the stars of the show, 56 Les Paul Custom. Some refinishing on this guitar. Hardware and electrics are mostly original. There's not a lot wrong with it, to be honest with you. Changed tuners, as you can see, but there are some areas of refinishing and relacquering which should be taken into account if you are bidding. Again, have a look at the catalogue. We've got a pre-sale estimate of 8 to 12,000 on that one, so we do expect it to make a little bit more, but it is a conservative estimate. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it actually made 15 to 20 on the day. Chris Cornell 335, a nice Les Paul Deluxe there. What have we got there? We've got a Joe Bonamassa signature gold top, a Gary Moore signature. This guitar ordered by Eric Clapton to his specifications, as he didn't like the the R4 that he had because the neck was too big, so he had a slim taper neck put on it, and with the single P90 pickup. So that's an interesting thing, ordered for Eric Clapton. 70s 335, Johnny Winter signature Firebird inspired by series. And what have we got here? A 1953 Gibson Gold Top with the wraparound bridge. That bridge on there, or the stop bar should I say, is a replacement. We do have the original in the case. This does have some refinishing. It's got a inventive neck repair, but it has been well done. You can't feel it. It's solid now, probably even more solid than it was originally. And there we've got another lefty Les Paul there from that same left-handed collection. We've got a 73 Les Paul Deluxe conversion. A few more signature strats here. I think we can just see from there, you can already guess what they are. One's obviously a Nile Rodgers.
No mistaking those, is there?
And there's no mistaking this one. That's the Rory Gallagher custom shop as well. Of course, if you want to see some of these guitars in action, we do have some demo videos produced by Simon Whitehead Productions. Very, very good indeed, and played by Jack Kendrew. So we've got around 15 or 16 videos with some of the higher profile guitars in the sale. They're all in one playlist on our YouTube channel, so do have a look there. You can see them all, and it might tempt you to have a bid, or it might, if you're already interested in one of the guitars, it might encourage you even further. Some great videos there. We've tried to give a good range of tones coming out of them as well, clean different pickups and drive channels and all sorts, so you can have a rough idea of what they do sound like as well. Of course, we do supply condition reports as well, so if you are lucky enough to be watching this before the sale and there's anything you see in the catalogue that you're interested in, send us an email. We'll send some condition reports over, and we can also give an idea of playability, as we do play ourselves, and we have done for a very long time. Got some very nice acoustics in the sale. Here's a Martin D45. This one possibly could benefit of a neck reset. I will leave that to the buyer's decision as to whether to do that or not. A fairly rare limited edition Martin Bigsby. So it has the iconic Bigsby head on. You don't see many of those. I don't think that's going to be for everyone, but if you are the collector of these Martin guitars, a great option. Sunburst HD28. Don't see many of those. And one of the best acoustics in the sale is this Mark Beneteau luthier from Canada. Incredible guitar there with the Ziricotta back and sides. Stunning piece there. And that will, I'm sure that will get a lot of interest. We've had a few inquiries on that one already. And let's make our way out, and we'll have a further scan down the room, which is going to go past one of the stars of the show in the cabinet here, ready for people to have a look at, is a Tony Zamatis. This is an original Tony Zamatis metal front with the engraved top, made in 1999, so one of the last ones he made before he retired in 2000. Then of course he sadly passed away in 2002. These metal fronts don't come on the market that often, and especially with the provenance we've got stacks of paperwork with it, and we've got a few other nice little Zamatis trinkets, Z Gazettes and all sorts to go with it. So in terms of provenance, this is one of the best, and it's a great sounding guitar as well. There's a demo of that online, so if you are looking into your collection and possible investment pieces, and do remember that there wasn't many more than 500 instruments made by Tony Zamatis, so a very rare thing by a sought-after maker, of course made for all sorts of high-profile artists like George Harrison, Eric Clapton, Ronnie Wood. The list really does go on. Then you'll see here Fender. This is some really nice things. We've got a lefty 70s Fender there. It's got some mods. It's actually got a Gibson pickup, humbucker pickup there, in the neck position. 70s Mocha jazz bass, completely original. It's a nice thing. This is one of the earliest JV Squiers in existence. So this is one of the 1982 Fender Squier series. So before they went to just Squier JV Stratocaster, that is the one that came out, and it was one of very few that were imported into the UK. We're selling this on behalf of the original owner, who I believe bought it in 83, but it is an 82. So I can only assume it was on the shelf for a month or so during the transition into the next year. And we also sell less expensive for every budget. So there's a Fender Standard Series, but a Mexican Standard Telecaster. So you can pick hammer price, you can pick them up for around £300. So great guitars for the money, good bang for buck, as we like to say. And then on the players grade side, we've already seen some players grade guitars. Here's a 79 Strat, been refinished. It's got some other mods, so you can pick up some relatively good guitars, or some very, very good guitars, in fact, that original examples would cost in excess of 1,000 up to 1,500 for that kind of era, and this will potentially come in significantly less. Johnny Marr Jaguar, great guitars they are. That's also had the upgraded bridge. It's one of the first series ones where the string spacing wasn't quite right, but this one's had the bridge changed. Mexican Player Series Strat, very good guitars indeed. And of course, with Christmas coming up, there could be a decent present for a loved one, a refinished in black.
Hints, is that what that
is? Maybe if you are watching, darling. A refinished 70s thin line Telecaster, which is another nice guitar. In fact, I quite like the fact it's in black rather than the original colour that it was in. Jeff Beck with changed pickups, Joe Barden pickups I believe are in that one, and some Japanese made Jaguars. We've got quite a few of these in the sale. I think we might have around 4 or 5. So yeah, have a look at that catalogue. Some nice things there. And one of my favourite guitars, that is a Biffy Clyro Simon Neill signature Squier Stratocaster. I have one myself, and they are very, very good guitars indeed. The stock pickups are great as well.
Not as good as a Tom DeLonge, though.
Not as good as a Tom DeLonge, close second I'd say. There's one of the other Japanese Jags, a Squier Vista Series Jagmaster. Again, they are very good guitars as well. And then when we spin around, we get back onto our run of Gibsons. There really are over 700 guitars in the building, and I think you're starting to see the sheer scale of these auctions. So we've got Gibsons of all sorts here. One of the latest consignment update videos went through quite a few of these guitars, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. You can, as I say, look on the catalogue, and I think a lot of you will know what these guitars are just by looking at them without me saying. Frank Zappa Roxy SG, Buckethead Les Paul Studio, they've gone up in value as well. Left-handed 78 SG, I believe it's a 78. I'm going to have to check now just for my... Yeah, 78, got it. I do surprise myself sometimes, yeah. How I retain some of this, some would say probably useless information, but it's probably quite useful to you guys. 2015 Les Paul, so this is the 100th year thing with the robot tuners. These do have a wider nut, so they're not. A lot of people actually love these, the flat necks with the wider nut. I'm not the biggest fan, but if you want a Gibson SG, they come in at quite good money, and you can just take the robot tuners off if you don't want the clunky tuner thing on the back. SG Standard we've got here, that needs some fret work. This was a Mini Humbucker Deluxe, 70s Deluxe. It's been Mojos, aren't they? Mojo PAFs, right. Mojo PAFs, refinished top, but still could be a good bargain for someone. Gibson ES135, they're fantastic guitars. And I love these. Kalamazoo from the 40s. You can see it's had a tailpiece mod. It's got some battle scars. It's seen a life, but they always sound great, especially when they play great as well when they're set up and good to go. So yeah, nice thing again. And then what have we got round here? This is an AVRI that has been refinished. I believe this might actually be a replaced body. Have a look at the catalogue description. It's all in there, but it's an AVRI neck. It's either a replaced body or a refinished body. There's a few other changes, but it's a cool guitar, cool looking guitar, feels good, nice solid thing. I think you've also heard in previous videos or seen that we've probably got more Les Pauls than ever.
Yeah, just looking down the run.
And I mean, just here we got 3 Les Paul classics with P90s in, so you're spoilt for choice. You can have one in black, you can have one in gold, you can have one in Pelham Blue. That Pelham Blue one looks awesome. I really, really do like the look of that. I love Pelham Blue guitars with the brown back. Gibson S1, never had one for sale. We've got 2. So that is one. They're pretty much both as good as each other. I think one's got a bit more buckle wear on the back, but they are fantastic guitars. They were Gibson's answer to the Strat. And then we got 2 Gibson J45s. One is in more road worn or played in condition. A lot of checking on that one and a significant wear on the fretboard. The other one is very clean. My personal opinion though is the played in one feels nicer to play, I think, because it's obviously played in, but it does sound better as well. But again, I think that's because it has been played, and that just helps the wood open up. I think with acoustic guitars especially, they have to be played. There is a lot to be said for that, but the other one will be fine, just needs to be played a lot more. A couple of Gibson Vs. We had that cool 58V that went through the last sale, of course. So this is a 2015, I believe.
14 or 15.
2014 or 15 Gibson Flying V, and this is a Guitar of the Week 50th anniversary Gibson Flying V. It's got one of the early type Gibson head logos on the head there. I think that's a cool looking thing. So if you're into Flying Vs, that's something a bit different.
It's got these really funky tuners as well.
Yeah, the backwards, well, banjo style, but a bit
like
with a twist.
Instead,
ES135 again. If you don't like the Sunburst one, we've got a natural example there. A Gibson, I think that's the faded. Is that the 2015? That's the 2004 faded. So there we go. Good era. 2004 faded SG Special. And more and more Les Pauls. There's the one that you can convert to the greenie and save yourself some money.
There's a few of those in
buy a Gibson and put an Epiphone logo on it, and you've got a cut price Epiphone greenie. Just change some knobs as well, rotate the pickups. And another Les Paul classic. This one's got quite a few mods. Nickel hardware replacing the gold. But it is a nice guitar. This is it's a fairly rare Gibson Les Paul custom classic as well. So you've got the bound body, but you've got the trapeze inlays on the ebony board. Angus Young SG, 90s Gibson Les Paul standard, good period there. Some people love them, some people don't. The Sonex 180. And then over here in this corner we have the collection of Ray Majors, who was played with Mott, who followed Mott the Hoople, and British Lions, and had a solo career of course as well. Also married to Sandy Dillon, who was also another well-respected artist. So we've got some guitars from his collection. Here's another artist guitar. This was owned by Andy Powell of Wishbone Ash, and spoke to Andy about this guitar actually. So it was quite fascinating, him recounting the story of selling it to the lady and being quite surprised because she was quite small that she would buy quite a big guitar, and yeah, she came down to us with it. So it was quite quite a thing, him confirming the story, because it all checked out. But there is a letter from him from the initial sale in 1986 when he sold this guitar. So used with wishbone ash, and yeah, here it is in our sale. So a nice guitar with some artist provenance. And what else have we got? Adrian Utley of Portishead. He's put his Godin Glissantor in. So it's an 11 string or a double coursed off strings guitar with the fretless necks. You don't see many of those around. Something he used for a project. And then I better put that the right way round, or they'll be knocking against each other. This is an interesting acoustic. Milkman guitars. This was actually used by James D. Bradfield of the Manic Street Preachers. We've got photos with this guitar of him using it live on stage. So that's an interesting thing as well. And then further guitars. Phil Manzanera of Roxy Music allegedly owned this 12-string Fender. And then this guitar here was used live on stage of Iggy Pop with his guitarist. And then, yeah, we'll quickly shoot down here. Another run of Gibsons. There's the other S1. We got, again, loads of Les Pauls here. We got a 76 Melody Maker in the middle there. 75, I think, actually. They are very, very good. Almost reissues, but they're better than the originals, in my opinion. Heavily modified 70s Les Paul Deluxe. I like that a lot. I think it looks really cool, and if you want versatile, you can't get much better than that, to be honest with you.
Extra knobs and extra switches.
Yeah, extra knobs and extra switches.
What can't it do?
Means better. Gibson Les Paul BFG, always very popular.
This has been modified as well, actually.
It has been modified. It's had the switch has been swapped over down to here, and then a kill switch put in place. So that's good fun. Gibson Firebird Studio, Gibson Les Paul Studio, Memphis 335, Gibson Les Paul Classic with some Seymour Duncans, and then another 90s Gibson Les Paul Standard, again, great period. That pretty much ends the run of Gibsons, and then we go to, what should we call it, any other business. So this is where we get into, after Fender and Gibson, it's quite difficult to keep things together because of the way we like to preview our catalogues. So you'll see we've got everything from very nice high-end Taylors. That's a 30th anniversary Taylor. Watkins Rapier for a bit of that 1960s nostalgia. Epiphone Casino, modern, fairly modern. When I say modern, it can be anywhere, I guess, within the last 20 years. So it sounds a bit weird saying modern. I actually said that to someone the other day. I said, they were telling me about something they had, and I said, oh, is it one of the modern ones? And they said, no, it was made about 15 years ago. I was thinking, well, that's modern then, isn't it? In guitar terms, to me anyway.
But wasn't the 80s only 20 years ago?
80s was only 20 years ago, exactly. It's always difficult to remember these things. I still feel like I'm 16 every day, I think. Well, maybe not my legs, but 1980s Rickenbacker, very Johnny Marr-esque. Of course, he would have used an 80s one as well. I think this is the thing now. We're going into a generation where the artists that, certainly my generation, a bit older, are looking at these guitars, and this is the guitars that people from the Smiths era, who are rife in the 1980s, those sort of artists, they were using these 80s instruments. So that artist association, obviously the models that they used do bring values of these things up. There's a nice Takamine Santa Fe model, one of the high-end Takamines. Duesenberg, there's a star player, nice example in the red sparkle finish. Plastic, definitely not plastic. We've got Levin LM28, I believe that is, from the 1960s. They are fantastic acoustic guitars, and they give all sorts of vintage guitars like Martins and Gibson to run for their money. and they should not be overlooked, but you've heard me say that more than enough times now. And speaking of Martin guitars, we do have a run of Martin guitars. We managed to keep them mostly together. We've got some cheaper Mexican ones, but then we've got some very nice American ones. We've even got an acoustic bass there, limited edition Martin LE Cowboy with the William Matthews Sagebrush C watercolour on there.
And it seems like every auction this year hasn't been complete without one.
We seem to get a lot of them. This is really cool. Obviously been popular because you don't see many of them. This is one of the 1992. This one's from the Japanese made. All production of Gretsch went out to Japan in 1989, and so this is one of the early Japanese production. And this is a black Falcon, and they just look cool. They look really good with that orange binding. The white ones look cool, of course, but the black one I think just looks that much more special. And then what else have we got? A couple of Stingrays. These are sort of these are NOS really. I think they're box fresh, brand new.
Smell it.
They were made in about 2012, so they're still modern.
11 years old.
Modern, but they are the remnants of a shop closure that closed back then, and they've only just got round to disposing of them. So they are essentially brand new Ernie Ball Music Mans. So keep an eye out for those if you like that kind of thing. We've got a nice 1930s Masterbuilt Epiphone Zenith. That one is. That's a really nice guitar actually. If you like that kind of thing. We have a Gretsch double anniversary that was scheduled to go in the last sale, but there was a admin error with the CITES paperwork, so we had to pull it, unfortunately. So if you were looking forward to that last time, it's in this time, and it now has the CITES certificate. And that was the same story with the Guild. There was unfortunately AIFA, who grant the certificates, made an error with the processing. So we had to, out of our control, had to pull them out of the sale, but they are now in. That's the reason they're back in. There's nothing wrong with them. They weren't withdrawn for any sinister reasons. It's simply that, because of course you have to have a CITES A10 certificate to legally sell a guitar. If you see one for sale without one, it's probably not worth the hassle buying them, because you'll struggle selling it on in the future, especially if you get caught. Microfret's Wanderer, fairly rare thing. And what else have we got here? Oh, this is quite cool. It's a 60s Guild, which has been converted to baritone. It's got a new table, bridge moved down, so it's it's a really cool thing.
Was it converted from a baritone?
Converted to a baritone, I think.
That sounds a bit high pitch. Baritone.
Tuned it up.
Just like that, mate.
Yeah. We've got a missing stand, which that's
the NCG Bio.
That's the NCG Bio. I keep giving rave reviews about the Bayou. They're amazing guitars, new model from Nottingham City Guitars, and they are, or you can see it in a video online, a great demo by Jack. Have a look at that. Andy's obviously selling them for his new price, so this is a chance to grab a bargain on those, and they sound amazing. They really do.
I've said it before, but Andy has not paid us in any way.
It's not a sponsored.
To rave about
not
these
a sponsored
guitars,
post. We do know Andy very well, but you know, the guitar's here, and I am a huge fan of the NCG Bayou. And I think there's good things to come from Andy and his guitar builds. He's got other models as well. Have a look on his website. I think he's got a website dedicated to them now.
But I think the thing that boils it down to is a good guitar is a good guitar.
A good guitar is a good guitar.
And it is a very good guitar.
And it is very well made. Quite a good selection of PRS guitars. We've got more PRS SE guitars than ever in this sale. This is not an SE. This is a full-blown USA 20th anniversary. I think that's a standard 24 model, so that's a nice thing. A brand new, essentially Alden acoustic. We've got two of those in the sale. They're nice guitars. Faith Acoustic, a Revolta Combinato, I think they look amazing. Hagstrom Viking, this is the guitarist of Paramore's signature version. Big fan of Paramore, just can't remember the guitarist's name.
Josh something, begins with F, I think his last name.
There we go.
The one that's not in the band anymore.
Yeah, I can't extract it from the depths of my
you're in the guitar file right now.
Exactly, yeah. We got some modern. I'll just pull out one. Some modern Ibanez guitars, some Japanese and Indonesian ones, all very, very good guitars indeed, of all certain types. These are all in very, very nice, good, clean condition. So again, perfect for Christmas. Again, with these Gretches, all of these Gretches are pretty much immaculate. There's not, when I say immaculate, there might be the odd mark or two on them, but they are fantastic condition. I don't think they've been played much since they were purchased by the owner, a local chap to us. And here's the White Falcon that we mentioned, this one from 1990, so that's a very early one, so that's second year of Japanese production. So this has been one of the first White Falcons out, really, or probably first 100, something like that. But that's a nice thing. That's a really cool one, and it will look great by your Black Falcon if you want to own two. What else have we got? Weizenborn. This is an old Weizenborn as well, so it's not a modern copy, but an old. I think this one's actually a German made, based on some of the hardware. But that's a really interesting thing. More PRS guitars. That is an early. I think that's an early 90s one. So the earlier 90s ones are a bit more sought after now, probably because Paul Reed Smith himself had his hand more into production at that point. And moving on down, PRS SE, this is the Zach Myers model. Yeah, there we go. So that's a good guitar actually. Deep hollow body, in great condition. And there we go, another lefty. This is a lefty made in Japan Tokai. That's a nice thing. So if you're after a very good Gibson Les Paul, but don't want to pay Gibson prices and you're left-handed, look no further. Nice thing indeed. And what else have we got? These courts are pretty good as well. Actually, we got two brand new, essentially courts.
Yeah,
and the modern
fretless is a lot of fun.
Yes, a very good bass. I think we've got a seven-string fan fret guitar as well in the auction. Could be an 8-string.
That's quite cool as well.
Yeah, we'll probably get round to that as we walk around. Yamaha Superflighter, good Japanese-made guitar. A couple of GNLs there. Overwater bass, fretless bass, another good fretless bass.
And the most tragic guitar in the
most tragic guitar on the cell, and I love it. And we're only saying tragic because that is the brand. But this does sound really, really good. Burns pickups, and that's quite a rare version because I think most of them had two pickups and didn't originally have the Burns pickups in. That one, obviously, the pickups in that are original, but they didn't tend to use the Burns pickups. And then going around here, we've got some really, really nice parts casters made by a local chap to us, one of our regular attendees, but this one with an MJT body. He's used decent parts. Have a look at the catalogue. They're all pretty much in a run, and we've catalogued them accordingly with what they're made of, hardware, electrics and what have you. So do have a look at those. We've got a EVH 5150 copy there. I think the parts were supplied by Eddie Vegas. The owner got the parts when he was over there in Las Vegas. So that's another nice thing there. A Brian May Red Special. We've got I think we've got about 4 of those in the sale. Never seen so many. There's a blue one there, in fact, and there's a mini May as well. Be perfect for my little boy, but yeah, we'll see. 55 Gretsch Electromatic Streamliner in the bamboo finish. I think I accidentally catalogued that as Jaguar Tan originally in a moment of madness, but it is the bamboo finish. Refinished neck, but otherwise it's nice. Why the neck was refinished, we don't know. It could have been because it was to repair binding rot, or of course it could be concealing a neck repair, who knows. Just to be aware of, have a look at the condition report anyway. A USA EVH custom. I've seen the 5150 we had just a second ago. And then this is quite a nice arch top, electric arch top, the Pullman. You don't see many of these, UK made. In fact, this is the first we've ever had, so that's a nice thing. Ovation Deacon, which is basically the upscaled breadwinner. That's in good condition. PRS Silver Sky, Dweezil Zappa Signature Charvel, only 10 of these made. Is it 10 or 12?
I think it's 10, isn't it?
Yeah, this is number 10 of 10. So there we go. That was the last one made. Dweezil Zappa Signature, and then we got the Kiesel Jason Becker Numbers guitar. I think that looks really, really cool. The natural finish and the bright colours. It would certainly keep me playing on the right fret.
Yeah.
It stands out nicely. I'm sure.
Play by numbers.
Yeah, play by numbers. Yeah, I think my colleagues will probably appreciate that I actually play the right frets as well. A few heritage guitars in this cell. There's a Heritage H140, nice guitar. One of two of this model in the sale. I think we might have a hollow body in the sale as well.
It's just next to you. Well, as we go around the next run.
There we go. I'm glad I got that right. And going down here, we've got a 60s Guild 12-string acoustic. That's a nice thing. What else have we got that we can pick out? Gretsch Rancher. These are cool. Couple of old Harmony Silvertone guitars. Hasn't one of these got a rattlesnake tail in?
Oh yeah, it's it might be the other one.
Yeah, well, just to give that extra rattle. Cool little mod, I guess. Another Japanese-made Gretsch, the Nashville model there. Doc Watson Gallagher, very, very good guitars indeed. They're kind of like the flagship model of Gallagher, really, with the Doc Watson Association. Of course, the American guitarist. And what do we have around here? This is actually a great guitar.
Well, so's the other Les Paul just behind it, the Edwards.
They are both indeed, but this is a Fenix, a Korean-made Fenix Les Paul custom copy, and this has actually had upgraded pickups, Seymour Duncan pickups in this one, I think. Have a look at the catalogue just to have a look there, but this was made in around 1989, and with the pickup upgrade it's a very, very good Les Paul custom copy, and of course with the white finish, very, very popular look. And then what do we have in front there? That looks like a very nice guitar indeed. It is. It's a Hamer Monaco Super Pro in very nice condition. And then moving round to the front, we have probably a contender for one of the world's heaviest electric guitars in the PVT 60. They really do weigh a lot, but that's a nice example. But they are fantastic guitars. I think they're quite a good design as well. I like them a lot.
Just play them sat down.
Just play them sat down. There's that other court actually. We'll just have a look at that. Bring that out. That's an Orville Les Paul, by the way. So that's a nice Les Paul copy again, made in Japan, but with the blessing of Gibson. There is the court fan fret with the Fishman Fluence pickups. If you're into your, God, that really is an 8-string. So if you want an 8-string guitar with the fan threat thing and some really good pickups, that really is a good guitar for the money.
I kind of wish I bought one of those, because I have a Schecter Omen, but one of the Diamond Series ones, and I kind of wish I bought one of those instead.
And there you go. So that is a
CJ seal of approval.
CJ seal of approval there. Better than a Schecter.
Buy 8 strings to play one.
This is cool. Tysco, and with all the switching there, it's just got a cool look, cool vintage look. And what else can we find? You can see we're getting to the end of this room. I've probably showed you more than I originally planned on, but the RKS Wave, actually made in the US, these, and I don't think the company went for much longer after they were made, so there's not many of them. God knows what they're really worth, but it's essentially here to sell. It's certainly an interesting thing, and you will certainly stand out. There we go, another Brian May Red Special, and a couple of Tokais. So we've got a Tokai Custom and we've got a Tokai Love Rock. So two good Tokais there. These Maybach 59 reissue Les Pauls are very, very good guitars indeed. So do check them out if you haven't heard of them before. I would probably rather own one than a Gibson. And I remember a few years ago when I was considering a Les Paul, that was when you liked them. That was, well, it was when I was trying to convince myself that I needed one. It was between that and one of the Eastmans, and it was a very close. If I'd gone for it, I still don't know what I would have chosen, but they were very, very close. More PRSs here. We got quite a few PRSs here. So we got an SE Custom there. We got an Studio. We've got some Velas. We got a Starla. We got a Mira. There's a nice Ibanez hollow body. There's another GNL, the Assat Classic, the Blues Boy, and this is the Heritage hollow body that we mentioned as well. And then if we take a good old spin around here, Ibanez Artist, one of my favourite model electric guitars, the Ibanez Artist there, one of the early Japanese ones, and you won't have seen many of these. Look at that, the Starbase by Migma. That is a really cool thing. Nice big round body, just what you need for that bass. And then we've got a Hopf guitar, that's in great condition, nice and original as well. You don't see many of those. In fact, that's the first of that model I've ever seen. Music Man Silhouette, I like them a lot. Wall-Tone Custom, they are very rare. You don't see many of those. I think I've sold one of those in the past, so it's nice to have another one, but superb quality things. National Resophonic with the Hawaiian scene, single cone resonator, they're always popular. Burns Marvin, that's one of the modern ones. I think that's a 1964 model. So the kind of the spec of Hank Marvin's original from the 60s. And we're coming back here with a Hofner, very thin, fairly modern Rickenbacker. So just again with the caveat that if I say modern, it could be 20 years old. And some other nice things. This bass is cool. The Mosrite. So it's a Ventures model, but technically not a Ventures, because the association between the two had split off in the exact year this was made, 67. So hence why the Ventures is not written on the headstock. But I guess it's I think they called it the V2 model or the B2, something like that. But it pretty much is a Ventures bass. You just don't get the name on the head, and it also should technically cost you slightly less. Let's just have a quick dash down the side, just in case we've missed anything significant. You'll see some amps here as well. We'll have a quick look in the amp room later, where most of the amps are situated. Some of the bigger ones are in here, of course. There's a Momo's Japanese made 58 Flying V. Very good guitars indeed. That's a left-handed one, so for you lefties out there who want a Flying V. Hugh Cornwell was with the Stranglers. That's a Telecaster that he owned. He signed the underneath of the pickguard, and there's his Vox AC30 in front. In the flight cases, we've got his modern AC30s that he has used on tour, and we've got pictures of him playing on stage with those. And then moving around here, this Airline amp guitar set is really sweet. I've got a lot of time for that. Nice thing. Really nice PRS custom. I think that's the custom 2408. So a very high-end PRS indeed. And then to its left, we've got the SE baritone. And then you'll see even more PRS guitars here. That's a model that we don't see that often. So that is the Fior model, 2022. Good high-end guitar. Dan Armstrong, known for his plexiglass guitars, but also the sliding pickup, the London model. So these were made and designed when he was residing in London, or certainly in the UK, and he called it the London model when he was over here. B&G Little Sister. We've got another Gallagher guitar there. There's this room done. We're going to have a look around some other things. We're going to have a quick look around the other rooms though, because there's not a lot more to say around those areas, and of course you can look at the full online catalogue. Worth going back to our consignment update. So if you're at a loss this weekend, you want something to do, you can sit through and look at those consignment updates before the auction starts next week, because we do look at some of the guitars in more detail, and of course look at the video demos as well. Of course, please remember to like and subscribe to our channel and hit that bell icon to be informed of future video uploads. So ladies and gents, we're in our upstairs sale room. Musical instruments you'll see just over here. So this is a separate catalogue on the Friday of the sale, so have a look at that as well if you're into all sorts of other instruments, banjos, violins, wind instruments, other stringed instruments, folk instruments. It's a treasure trove of things. We did a video last week entitled Budget Bidding. So if you are into the, what I would say, sub £200 hammer price guitars, some will obviously go for a bit more than that. Have a look at that video, but essentially that is the guitars we have up here. So we've got about another 200 guitars up here. So there are some very, very good things, and that term again, good bang for your buck, that's where you will find those guitars. So you can get a lot of guitar for under £200, certainly in the auctions. Some very, very fantastic guitars up here. And then just for a bit of fun, you can see our wall of cigar box guitars. Then on the Thursday of the auction, we are selling studio equipment. So you can see here we've got all sorts of weird and wonderful toys for your studio. Rack units, keyboards, synths, modules, speakers, mixers. It's all up here. And there are some really, really good fun toys. So if you're into your recording and your studio equipment, have a look at that catalogue as well. Like I said, that is on the Thursday. And let's go and take a look in another room. So a lot of you will recognise this area. This is the usual place that we do our consignment updates. We're in the racked area. All the guitars are obviously out and they're in the sale room. And this is where we have all of our pedals and things. So these will be on an ask to view basis. So if you are coming over and viewing, then you can ask to view these and we will fetch them for you and you can have a look. So lots of pedals, about 200 pedals in this cell. And then we got some spares, spare parts as well, which are going through on the same day as the studio equipment. So there's all sorts of really cool things. There we go, we've got a vintage Bigsby in that bag there. So we've got quite a few old Bigsbys in this cell, good run of them. But have a look at the catalogue for that as well. Spares on the Thursday sale, and on the Wednesday we have the pedals, which will be of the amplifiers, which we will go and have a look at in a minute. Don't forget antique and classical guitars on the Friday the 8th of December. We got a good selection this time. I believe we have around 60 lots of antique and classical guitars, some very good things indeed. Lecoq, Panormo, some good makers, some good classical makers as well. And for the first time ever, we've got them up in a quiet room. So you classical guitarists, you always like to play somewhere with a bit more quiet. So we are accommodating this time. So you can come up here and have a look through and you can see the selection we've got. So that is on Friday the 8th of December. We are in the amp room. So it's actually quite rare for us to have this many rooms on view, but we've just got so much stuff this time.
Taken over the building.
we have taken over the building. I think we have 5 rooms on view this time. So even if you're not going to bid, what a great day out. Come down and have a look around. So as you can see, lots of amps. We are still tidying this room frantically this morning before our customers come in. A few finishing touches, so you may see a few things lying around, but we've got all sorts, as you'd expect, Fender, Cornford, PV, Ibanez. We've got a lot of really great Marshall gear this time, a lot of early heads, some nice cabinets as well. There's a Park 75 head down there from around 1970. That's a good example, good clean example, and in nice working condition as well. And then moving around the corner, this is where the sale will happen. There will obviously be a lot more chairs. We're not being this pessimistic. There will be more people here. So we'll have a room full of people going from front to back, and here we have the rostrum area. So as you can see, we've got some, again, vintage Marshalls. We've got a Soldano head there, which isn't actually in the sale, but that was ex-Bernie Marsden, so that will be being sold in March. So if you're after a Soldano head, there's a nice little preview for the March auction. But here you can see there's some really nice stacks around here. A nice 60s Fender Bandmaster piggyback head and cab. And this is where the auction happens. Again, excuse the wiring, we're still in the process of setting things up a little bit. And here we are at the rostrum, and I think this is a good way to end. So 5th to 8th of December is the auction. So we're starting on Tuesday. Please do remember, as of last sale, with the first day is starting on the Tuesday with guitars. So we have guitars, memorabilia, and artist-owned guitars on Tuesday the 5th of December. Then we have amps, pedals and day 2 guitars on Wednesday the 6th of December. On the Thursday we have studio equipment and guitar spares, and on the Friday antique and classical guitars, before we swap over and go into the rest of the musical instruments, which you can also see the catalogue online. I'd just like to say a quick thank you to everyone for this year, certainly for this sale, helping get this sale together. A thank yous in advance for all your bids, but thank you really for this year. It's been a fantastic year. Thank you for all of your views on the channel as well. It really is encouraging, and there will be lots more to come. So please do subscribe to our channel, like the video, hit the bell icon. We will have a couple of more videos before the year closes, the first of which will be the part 2 of the big collection that we had in. So it's been one of our most popular videos to date. We had 40-ish guitars from the 150 guitar collection. So we are going to go through the rest, which will be going into the March auction, and then we'll have a few other videos hopefully over the Christmas period, whilst we're not here scurrying away working, just to tide you over. But once again, thank you for the year. It really has been an amazing one, and yeah, thank you both to old and new customers that will be coming here more in the future, I'm sure. But I hope you've enjoyed this video, and we will see you next time.